38 pounds in the black corner. From St. Louis,
Here comes Mr. Pro.
Andre the Giant.
Gonna get his legs in on the bruiser. Hulk Hogan.
Number 1, the greatest WWE champion of all time, and in many ways, the man who made the title what it is today, Bruno Sammartino.
His opponent weighing 236 pounds in the white corner. From Van Nuys, California.
Welcome in to another edition of Retro Wrestling Rewind. As always, I am one half of the greatest uncrowned podcast tag team champions of the world. I will say that until the day I die. I'm David Fine, former professional wrestling ring announcer for 21 glorious years, and my tag team partner in this whole thing that we're doing, that we're just trying to get
he says.
This thing that we're doing, this mission that we're trying to get the glory days of professional wrestling out into the world. Alex G, he is the true Long Island IC. Crockett Cup 86. Man,
motherfucking Crockett Cup 1986.
Before we went on the air, we had some discussion about the WWE Network version of this. Is you missed the first 5 matches, you said?
I believe it's 5 matches.
But on the non, because we were talking about how a lot of these old pay-per-views were on closed circuit. There was not pay-per-view back then, but this was not on closed circuit. I mean, kind of discuss that and how you say there's a couple of versions of the tapes floating out there. There's
definitely two tapes out there that were commercially released. Those are exceedingly rare and very expensive to get the actual tapes. Now, everyone has dubs of the tapes, and that's what everyone sees online, and that's what I have. But overall, this entire Crockett Cup experiment for 1986, it's very strange. And I don't know what they were trying to do here. It wasn't on closed circuit, which I think was a mistake, but I think they were saving it for the home video release. I think they really wanted to push this home video release. But even you couldn't really even find it, though. That was the whole thing that made the tapes very rare. It was only sold on like ads if you're watching the Crockett syndicated show. If you're watching TBS, you never saw ads for this. So like no one bought it on a national level. If you watch some, if you're local TV, then maybe you purchased it for $44.95, which is really expensive.
Yeah, I mean, and yeah, it was. I mean, that is kind of expensive, and it probably took a couple weeks to get to.
I'm sure forever.
I mean, it was back in the mid '80s where you had to send it to PO Box 7500 Atlanta, Georgia 30329 whatever.
Yeah,
send a check or money order. I mean, it was ridiculous, but I mean, it was the first Crockett Cup. I mean, it came from New Orleans.
Why New Orleans, though? Why the Superdome? Makes no sense. Now, I know this is co-promoted with the UWF, Mid-South Wrestling. I get that, right? But I'm sorry, I don't think the wrestling fans of New Orleans gave a fuck about Jim Crockett Sr.
No.
To be complete. Why is this not in Greensboro? Why is this not in Charlotte? I have no fucking idea.
Yeah, I don't understand that, because New Orleans is. I mean, I've been to New Orleans once. I went to WrestleMania 30. You didn't happen to attend WrestleMania 30, did you?
No, I'm not allowed in the state of Louisiana.
Yeah, we won't reveal why that's a totally separate a show that we'll do. But it was at the Superdome. I mean, this is 1986. I went and in what was it, 4 or 5 WrestleManias ago. And
what was the attendance of the WrestleMania? What, 80,000 maybe?
Yeah. And it was on here. The attendance was 3,000 in the afternoon session, 13,000 in the evening session. It was only.
Now, to be fair, in 1986 they would reconfigure the domes for smaller events.
Yeah.
For they would do the same thing with the Silverdome. Like Silverdome would have basketball every once in a while. The Pistons were there, and they reconfigure it. That's why it was such an amazing thing that. Vince went I'm going to sell out the fucking Silverdome. We're going to use all the seats. And everyone was like, get the fuck out of here.
And he did.
But what's strange to me here, I think, why is it in the dome? You're drawing 13,000. You could probably draw a pretty close, proximity to that in the Greensboro Coliseum. Why do it here?
I mean, it had to have been something with the UWF, some kind of maybe.
I think. I don't know the logistics of trying to make this deal happen. Not really sure why they're even hanging out with Bill Watts at this time because Bill Watts is about to go national. He's already quote unquote taken over the Houston office. Both promotions has eyes on Dallas, and we're gonna get into that a little bit later. How Bill Watts basically destroyed World Class Championship Wrestling, uh, so to speak. But yeah, and they would partner up for a little bit here, and it wouldn't last too much longer.
It was Jim Dugan, as we call him, the great hacksaw, defeated Dick Slater to retain the Mid-South North American Heavyweight Championship. That was in the afternoon session. In the evening session, had Ric Flair taking on Dusty Rhodes. He winning by disqualification to retain the NWA World Title. I mean, okay, so you had like 8,000 matches on the released video and on the network. But they.
Remember, there's two shows. So it's a million matches.
Yeah.
I like the teams they got. The teams are pretty good overall. I mean, you see, they brought in Giant Baba and fucking Tiger Mask from Japan. That's pretty cool. They brought in Dino Bravo and Rick Martel. Although Dino Bravo does go to WWF in those shows, Rick Martel is there though.
Oh, so that's what I was asking. Okay, so Rick Martel shows up. They say that he. Oh, I probably noticed this. A young Bruce Pritchard.
He's all over this show.
And of course, he says that Dino Bravo has a case of appendicitis and he's been at the hospital. Is that because you said he no showed and he went to the WWF?
Yeah.
Okay, that was a good. I guess that was a good excuse. But I mean, overall, I mean, what would you rate this show? I mean, as far as the Crockett Cups, I mean.
I think 87's a better. I think 87's better, but I think overall, I mean, it's 1986, ladies and gentlemen. This is peak Crockett. Like 86 is their year. They're better than WWF. You know, this is their time. If you want to get a good feel about Jim Crockett at its peak, you're going to want to watch this show because I think it'll give you a good indication of what they're doing and what they're all about at this point. Now, if you watch the TVs leading up to this, if you start watching maybe February, World Championship Wrestling, you do see the big fucking the press conference and all that stuff. Bill Watts is there. You'll see Paul Bosch is there, and they do the whole thing with the site committee, and New Orleans was chosen, and they do this whole really big fucking build up for this show. And they had mentioned that originally. When they did the seating, your friend Bill Apter did the seating for this tournament, by the way. And from what I understand, this was a shoot. He did the seating for this tournament. And it had Arn Anderson and Ric Flair, and it had Magnum, TA, and Dusty Rhodes as teams. Later on through the show, it gets announced that Tully Blanchard will be replacing Ric Flair, and Ron Garber will be replacing Dusty Rhodes, and they're going to have this title match at the Superdome, which is a big deal. They're going to do it at the Superdome. And I think this is where Flair does that promo that says, I don't do no jobs in front of 70,000 people, and then Dusty said the same thing. So there's a promo in there that's kind of breaking kayfabe, but no one knew what it was back then. So
yeah, I mean, the Dusty Ric Flair match. I mean,
this is the best match that we see.
I mean, I'm a big Dusty fan. I mean, he's. I think. Do you think this was his best time, not like in 86, 87, 88, or do you think he was kind of past that time?
There's no way that Dusty Rhodes should be anywhere near a main event past the middle of 1986. There's no need for him up there. And he got stale. And if that fucking crowd in the fucking Atlanta, when they're fucking chanting, we don't want to hear it, at Dusty, you see Dusty getting flustered on promos, is a thing of beauty, which is hilarious to me. And oftentimes, this happened in Florida too, and it happened in WCW when the crowd turns on Dusty. And actually, there's a promo, I have a hard time locating it, but there is a promo out there that I saw when Dusty Rhodes is in Florida, and he talks about how the crowd fucking turns on him. It's like, you guys don't appreciate me no more.
I mean, it's got to take a lot to frustrate and fluster Dusty Rhodes. I mean, he was a great promo man, and just the crowd just got to be like turning on him. It's just like they say we don't want to hear it on the American Dream, Dusty Rhodes.
I just think that Ric Flair is so over, and the fans want him to be a babyface, and they're just going against the grain. Flair himself wants to be a heel, and it worked with Dusty for a little while, but eventually, Crockett Country, there was going to cheer Flair. That's just the way it's going to be. I mean, Flair's a babyface all through 1983, 84, and up until the end of 1985. So his heel turn is relatively fresh by the summer of 1986. So I think a lot of people think that Flair was a heel the whole time. Not in Crockett, he wasn't. He was a babyface in Crockett. He was heel everywhere else.
I mean, I'll ask you this again. I've asked you this a million times. Are you a big Flair heel fan? You just, are you like me that him as a babyface, I just love him as a heel because he says stuff about the fans, about how him basically better than them. I can't really say I love a Flair babyface. I'm a Flair heel fan.
He's an effective babyface, and he doesn't change all that much. He's not a white meat babyface that goes to the crowd and compliment the crowd. He's always just Flair, and it's depending on who he's feuding with at the time or whoever his opponent is that keeps some heel or babyface. Because he turns in '89, and he's not much different in 1989 after the Steamboat feud when he's feuding with Terry Funk. There's not much difference there.
Yeah, I mean, I think we'll definitely cover that feud in the future, Flair and Funk. I mean, that's.
Well, let me ask you a question. Looking at the teams here, the list of teams, what teams stand out to you?
The Magnum TA. Actually, no. I'm kind of going for. God, I mean, I know this sounds bad, but I'm going for the Midnights. I mean, they're.
It makes it very interesting to me that it wasn't the Midnights and the Rock and Roll in the finals.
Yeah.
And why I say that is the Midnight and Rock and Roll were huge draws in New Orleans. Huge draws for the UWF Mid-South Wrestling. Why not put those guys in the finals? Watts would have been all about that because they're quote unquote his guys. He got them over to such a degree that they're super over going into Crockett. And they chose to go with the Road Warriors as the winners here. Now, the Road Warriors are fresh in from AWA at this point, so I understand that you want to get these guys over. But in terms of if it was anywhere else, then yeah, I'd be fine with the Road Warriors. But if you want to do this in New Orleans, I would have went with the Rock and Roll Express, probably winning the whole thing.
Yeah, I mean, I was not a big. Yeah, I mean, I would have loved the Rock and Roll and Midnights, but let's kind of go some of the other teams before we get into the matches. I mean, I know you're a big fan of the Batten Twins.
Those are your
Brad
boys.
Bart and Brad. Hey, I mean, they're from Central States. I mean, you love a Central States, tag team title or a Western, it's just.
Fucking Central State's like the worst wrestling ever.
I mean, how about a Bill Dundee, Buddy Landell? I mean,
you got Bill and Buddy here in from Memphis, and that's a hell of a tag team. And they were fucking running roughshod and fucking CWA at this point. Like the whole show, they used to call it the Bill and Buddy show. It was their show. They were fucking all over that fucking TV. Top positions, and it's interesting to see them here in this very prestigious tournament. It's interesting to seeing the territories of they're dying. You see teams in that you're normally not going to see. You're going to see your Bravos and Martels. You're going to see your Bill Dundees and Landells. You're going to see the Fabs on this show, which is like, holy shit. You want to see Giant Baba and Tiger Mask. It's like, oh, that's cool.
Yeah. It was the interesting team is from the UWF is Terry Taylor and Steve Dr. Death Williams. Of course, they're supposed to be Ted DiBiase.
He's in Japan.
I mean, do you think you would have more likely have been? You'd have been happier to see Ted DiBiase.
Of course.
Timmy.
Like if you did a Ted DiBiase, Steve Williams versus Road Warriors final, that would have been fucking sweet.
Yeah, I mean that would have. I mean, there's a bunch of other tag teams. Of course, you have the Fabs. They're they're great. I mean, we had your favorite tag team, Sam Houston and Nelson Royal. I mean, they're
Fucking jobbers,
the
bro.
Italian Stallion, Coco Beware, Bobby Jagger.
Coco Ware. There's no B Ware until he goes to WWE.
Okay, Coco Ware. He'll always be Coco Beware to me. But Bobby Jaggers, Mike Miller, Chief Wahoo McDaniels, and Mark Youngblood.
There's no S.
I know that. For some reason, even the people on TV call him that. It's just weird. But of course, I mean, did you expect the team to win that wins the tournament to win the tournament? I mean, or did you expect that they would put someone else over? I mean,
I don't think 86. It's going to be hard to put anyone over the Road Warriors at this point. Although I would have preferred to be the Rock and Roll Express, but you could have done a double count out as well, disqualification with the Road Warriors. Anyway.
Yeah, I mean, and it was a very young Rick Steiner and Buzz Sawyer teaming together, and of course they had the New Zealand Sheepherders, Butch Miller and Luke Williams, DJ Peterson, who the hell he is, and
you know who DJ Peterson is? He is like proto Scott Hall. He looks just like Scott Hall.
Oh yeah, yeah. Except I'm not a big Scott Hall fan, but I will say
you're not a big fan of Gator Scott Hall?
No.
I am. He's fucking awesome.
You probably like his younger work, don't you? His earlier days of Scott Hall, don't you?
Like he's not good. He's not good at the like. He's around for a very long time until like it takes him forever to get good. He doesn't get good until he goes to WWF, which is strange.
And then, of course, I mean, do you think his breakout years were as Razor Ramon?
Yeah, for sure.
I mean, people hated him. He was a great champion. I mean, he was a great Intercontinental champion.
And mind you, he was like in the business for like 10 years already. You know what I mean? So, he's already a pretty astute, guy that's been around the block a couple of times by the time he got in there.
And we also had our not my favorite incarnation. Actually, I'll take that back. I've decided they're my favorite incarnation of the Midnight Express. Dennis Condrey, Bobby Eaton. They were the current NWA World Tag Team Champions at the time. And I'm not sure if you heard. I don't know any information. I guess Bobby Eaton's been in the hospital, so hopefully he does get. I've never met him, but I've heard he's like one of the nicest people in
the nicest guy in professional wrestling.
And it's And then we had the Los Guerreros, Chavo and Hector Guerrero.
Yeah.
Manny Fernandez and my least favorite wrestler, Jimmy Valiant.
The Boogie Woogie
Jimmy Valiant. It was a good tournament. Let's kind of go.
Well, I want to talk about the Fantastics and how they stole everything. This is the Fantastic show. Now, if you didn't know how good the Fantastics are, go back and watch this fucking show. They got a 5-star match with the Sheepherders, for Christ's sakes. This is like their breakout show. Yeah. For sure.
It was they had some great tag teams. They kind of keep on going. They had the Barbarian and Baron Von Raschke. Then of course you said you're a big fan of Giant Baba and Tiger Mask.
Yeah, you got Masawa.
Bringing Giant Baba in there. I guess that was kind of bring a marquee person in there. But
well, you're bringing in a big star from Japan, so you're making this tournament seem bigger than what it is. It's mostly Crockett guys, but you sprinkle in a couple of key names from other promotions in here. It makes it more prestigious.
Yeah, and of course, they had the greatest Italian Stallion. It was the Russian team of Ivan and Nikita Koloff.
Yeah.
Of course, it was kind of funny how all the people who mostly got the first round buys were Jim Crockett Promotions. So
look at that.
Imagine that, a Jim Crockett tournament. But I still don't understand why it was in New Orleans, but that's neither here nor there. But
it's just weird. Like you can draw that same amount of you can draw that same crowd.
And Crockett.
And why is it in the Superdome?
Like you said, it's got to be some kind of negotiations that they had with the UWF. But kind of talking about the first round matches, we had Chief Wahoo McDaniel and Mr. Youngblood taking on Bobby Jaggers and Mr. Miller. What were your thoughts on this? It was. I'm a big Chief Wahoo McDaniel fan. What were your thoughts on this match? It went 7:45. That's about 7 minutes too long. But
is this the match? Is this the match that we got to see?
Yep.
That's how impressive it was.
At
I don't
least on the
remember.
version I watched. Which version?
Well, yeah. Well, I mean, we've seen the super duper edited version. I mean, getting Youngblood is fine. I'm a big fan of Bobby Jaggers. Miller, he's all right. Again, probably your prototypical standard fare tournament matches. Now, these matches are not intended to be good matches. They're intended to tell a story throughout the tournament. Now, a lot of people will get the mistake like, oh, we're going to have this tournament. It's going to be 5-star matches across the board. Tournaments don't ever work like that. Watch any King of the Ring. Watch Survivor Series 98. Watch WrestleMania 4, whatever. Like, they're just trying to get through the tournament because you're telling a story throughout this tournament. The story you're telling here is, it's all about the Fantastics run and the Road Warriors. That's the story that they're trying to tell, at least from my point of view.
Yeah, I mean, I still wish, like you said, the Fantastics. I wish that they at least, been able to get to, the finals. I mean,
a lot of draws, what you're going to have in wrestling tournaments. A lot of DQs, lots of draws, a lot of non-finishes. It's kind of standard fare.
Yeah, I don't understand, double disqualifications in a tournament like that. I mean, it's just.
You're just going to have them, and that's the way it's going to be. So.
Then the next match in the first round, we had the Batten Twins, my favorite brother tag team, Sam Houston and Mr. Gary Royal.
Well, you can tell Nelson.
Yeah.
You can tell that Sam Houston is already engaged to Baby Doll because he's teaming with Nelson Royal.
Well, why do you say that?
That's what got him fired. It got him heat. Because you should never date anyone above your push. Ever.
They should always be below your push?
At least the same level. Again, the big rumor in the sheets back in the day, Dusty was upset that Sam Houston and Baby Doll got married to the point where he demoted Sam Houston and eventually sent them off to Central States because he wanted some of that Baby Doll.
Oh, so did you get some of that Baby Doll?
I don't know. You got to ask her. She's on Twitter. I think she blocked me, though.
She did?
She might have.
I mean, you like to cause a lot of controversy on the old Twitter machine. And speaking of that, I know people always love to see and read your opinions and kind of watch the magic unfold on YouTube and Twitter. How can they follow you and your fabulous YouTube show?
Well, you want to go to RW Games Presents on Twitter. Again, I'm a good follow. I'm pretty active, so check us out over there on Twitter. And then on YouTube, what you want to do is type in Retro Wrestling Games. We have right now 312 videos up currently. So take a pic, leave a like, leave a comment, tell me I'm an asshole or something. And if you're gonna hit thumbs down fucking button, I don't give a shit because it still counts as interactions for us and engagement. But if you're going to leave a thumbs down, at least write why you're giving us a thumbs down so I can call you stupid.
I mean, as of this taping, you have 5,709 followers. So, I mean, he is a legit, Adam, probably 5,708 of them are bots, but I mean, that's.
They're not bots.
Are they real?
They don't last. Bots don't last very long. If you buy like 100 bots, they probably last like 6 months and then disappear.
Yeah, that sounds like a dumb idea of just spending money. I mean, but whatever. The next match that we saw was the Fabulous Ones versus the Fantastics. I mean,
Fab's looking good though.
Yeah, Steve Kerr and Stan.
They're a couple years out from they're a couple years outside their prime though, but they're still looking pretty good.
Yeah, I'm a big Stan Lane fan. I mean, Steve Kerr.
I'm surprised personally that they didn't put them with the Road Warriors because the Fabs got really good matches out of the Warriors. I'm surprised. Like, if you want to showcase the Road Warriors, like if you want to make that the story of your tournament, I would have put them against the Fabs.
I mean, kind of talking about the Fabulous Ones. I mean, of course, Stan Lane went on to be part of the Midnight Express, but Steve Kern went up to the WWF and had that. What was that awful gimmick he was?
It was Skinner.
Ugh. I mean, what were your thoughts on that? I mean, he just kind of just like, would you think he was just like, hey, I want a job, I'll do whatever?
Yeah, pretty much. I'm pretty much talking about. He was also a doink too, so he didn't give a fuck.
Yeah, he was gonna.
You want me to be Alligator Man? Well, I'll be an Alligator Man. You want me to be a clown? I'll be a clown.
As long as you're paying me, I'll do whatever. So.
He had a really good match with Brett, though. I think on, was it this Tuesday in Texas? That was pretty good.
And kind of, I'll put the.
Do you know Steve Kern was one of the choices to become WWF champion back in the day? It was him or Backlund. And then went with Backlund, which I still maintain was a mistake.
Really?
Yeah.
Why do you think that was a mistake?
Because I think Kern has more charisma. He can have Backlund had these really weird matches. Like, go back and watch a bunch of 70s WWF and you see the Backlund matches, and they're not necessarily all that exciting. They don't have that southern heat to them. They're just pretty much standard fare. His matches were like Bruno matches, but with Backlund that, it could be really technical, but it was really bizarre. The whole Backlund run was bizarre, but I probably would have went with Steve Kern.
I'll give you that. But Backlund is a crazy motherfucker.
Oh, he's fucking legit fucking crazy. Terry Funk told me that.
And I saw that at WrestleCon. He was doing that weird yoga pose or whatever the hell it was. It was just weird. Yeah. But next match, we had the New Zealand Sheepherders taking on the Guerreros. I'm a big fan, at least back in middle 80s, the late 80s, of the Sheepherders. This incarnation of the Sheepherders, Luke and Butch, I think it was better than when they went to the WWF as the Bushwhackers.
Well, yeah, of course. Sheepherders are better in UWF. Everyone's better in Mid-South.
Yeah.
That's been a t-shirt.
And the Guerreros, what were your thoughts on this? Did you expect the Sheepherders not to move on? They're a great tag team. It's just.
I thought I was going to see Lasertron, but that's the next year. So I was disappointed.
God, Lasertron, God. Well, you were a big mark for Lasertron, weren't you? With his cool mask and his gun that he.
He was from the future too, right? Wasn't he from the future? Him and the New Breed?
Sean Royal.
And then Dusty Rhodes became the president of the United States and shit.
Oh, Sean Royal and Chris Champion.
Chris Champion. That's
the old New Breed. God, it was.
They're from the future though. It's fucking weird.
2019, I think. It was weird.
I forget what year, but I just know at the time that Dusty Rhodes was president from their time. Somewhere there's an alternate reality where Dusty Rhodes is president, and that reality actually exists in the multiverse.
It couldn't be worse than what we currently have now. So, just saying. But
yikes.
Hey, and I'm a Trump fan, but he's just anyway. But that's beside the point. It's not a political podcast. You have millions of those. And next match we had Baron von Raschke and the Barbarian taking on Manny Fernandez and the Boogie Woogie Man, Mr. Jimmy Valiant.
Where's Paul Jones?
Where is number one Paul Jones?
He should be managing these guys, the Barbarian and von Raschke.
Yeah, maybe.
Another chapter in the fabled Jimmy Valiant versus Paul Jones.
Maybe he was outselling Amway, because didn't Paul Jones sell Amway?
I don't know what he does.
Someone said that I think I heard on another show that he sells Amway. He's probably at one of those conventions, but Barbarian at this time. What were your thoughts on him and Baron von Raschke?
I like the Barbarian.
Yeah,
that's it. I like the Barbarian. I'm not a big fan of the Baron. I don't like. I didn't grow up in Minneapolis. I'm not an AWA guy in general. I find most of their shows to be completely boring. So I'm not a big Baron guy in general. I do like Manny. Manny's good. Jimmy Valiant's good. Manny's going to turn on Jimmy pretty soon, so you got to be watching out for that. And Barbarian eventually teams up with the Warlord and get the Powers of Pain. So.
And they were actually a really good tag team. I was big fans of theirs. Did you like the Powers of Pain?
I think I like Barbarian better with Haku.
Yeah.
Because Haku can do more stuff, but that fucking Warlord dude, he's fucking ginormous.
And speaking of the Barbarian and the Warlord, they were in that infamous angle with the Road Warriors when they did that the weight challenge, the push up, the bench press challenge.
Yeah,
through the
broke Animal's face.
Yes, and then he wrestled with a mask on, the hockey mask. That was epic back in the day, but And
they were supposed to do scaffold matches. And they wanted the Powers of Pain to fucking get thrown off the fucking scaffolds, and they said no and went to WWF instead.
They'll show them, right?
Those are big guys to be fucking dropping from that height, though.
I mean, anybody's too big to be fall.
Yeah, well, imagine the Warlord getting chucked off the fucking scaffold, though. That's not going to end well for the fucking Warlord.
It's not. Well, yeah, the Warlord would have been dead. So, and no payday is worth it. So, the next match had Terry Taylor, pre-Red Rooster, and Steve Dr. Death Williams taking on Bill Dundee and Buddy Landell. I mean, Dundee, Landell, they were. I mean, what were your thoughts of them being a tag team? I mean, it was. I mean.
Oh, they're fucking great. They're fucking
Yeah,
phenomenal.
because like you said, they were rocking up in Tennessee,
Memphis.
in Memphis.
Yeah, watch. Like that's the last like. You can probably say that's like the last great thing that Memphis did. Although a lot of people who are big fans of Memphis wrestling will disagree with me, but like '86 is like the last really good year.
Yeah, I mean, it was a. I'm not a big fan of Terry Taylor, and I mean Steve Williams, of course. You know, I mean, don't get confused with Steve Austin's real name, but
I think Taylor's a good tag team partner for Williams, but he's no Ted DiBiase for Christ's sakes, and having Teddy here would have been fucking awesome.
Yeah, I mean, it would have been. It would have been.
Because he never went to go work for Crockett. Like when they sold UWF, he's like, I'm going to WWF instead. Like they were like gonna do something with DiBiase coming in when they bought the UWF, but I just like nope, I'm going to Japan, and then when I come back, I'm going to WWF. So we'll see you later.
He did have a good run in WWF, so man.
Yeah, all-time great run.
I mean, it was not a move that he would probably regret, but yeah.
No, not at all.
Next match had Italian Stallion Coco Ware taking on Buzz Sawyer, Rick Steiner. I mean, this is back before the old, before the old dog-faced gremlin. I mean, he was kind of young. He was a young Rick Steiner. I mean, did you?
I think he just recently changed his name from Rob Recksteiner to Rick Steiner. So keep that in mind.
Yeah, I mean, and remember, folks, if you're in the North Georgia area listening to this podcast, he is on the school board of the Cherokee County School Board. So just think, he is molding youths live right now. So.
Well, yeah. If I had to pick somebody, it'd probably be him.
Yeah, man.
At least it's, it could be worse. It could be Lawler on there, for Christ's sake. Jeez.
I mean, hey, man, you wouldn't want the king molding your kids' lives.
I don't want a new word. I don't want the king near my kids at all.
What are you trying to say?
Read between the lines, my friend.
Okay. Moving on, I had Mr. Peterson and Mr. Wayne taking on Black Bart and Jimmy Garvin. I mean,
Jimmy Garvin at his peak in '86. Now a lot of people will like his World Class run. I do as well, but I think this is peak Jimmy Garvin.
I mean, I'm a big Jimmy fan in this time. I mean, do you think this is better than his run when he was in the Fabulous Freebirds?
Oh, fuck that shit. Oh, fucking awful.
Hey, I mean, they are rocks.
I hate Jimmy Jam Garvin so much.
Why? I mean,
so much. He was awful.
I mean, they are rock stars, remember?
They're not rock stars. They're fucking idiots.
I mean, come on. Michael P.S. Hayes had a music video. I mean, he's a legit.
Yeah, that's Michael Hayes.
Fuck.
I mean,
I guess, yeah. So.
Are you a big Black Bart guy?
I am.
I like Black Bart too. I think he's underrated.
Yeah, I mean, it was definitely underrated. I mean, he was definitely him teaming up with Jimmy Garvin. I mean, I think they were a good combo in this tournament. I mean, they didn't get past the second round of the tournament. Spoiler alert, but.
Well, no, because they run into fucking Giant Baba.
Giant fucking Baba. It's like.
Baba getting a lot of mentions on TV in the United States during 1986 because he was rumored to be the Giant Machine, and they would mention him on WWF television for no reason.
I mean, do you think that was just because to get people to watch because they think, oh, Giant Baba's going to be at the match? I mean,
well, I think he's if you're a magazine guy. Or you're super into it. If you're not a casual fan, Giant Baba, former NWA World Heavyweight Champion. Yeah, he's definitely someone that I'm going to be interested in seeing him for sure. And then Tiger Mask, And it's not the original Tiger Mask. It's Tiger Mask 2, but still, it's Tiger Mask.
And, kind of before we go into the second round, I'm going to give you an opportunity. I'm going to let you ponder it till the end of the show. Since I picked actually, no, you picked the show, but I'm going to let you pick again. I'm going to let you think and figure out. The fans can wait till the end of the show to figure out what we're going to be covering next week. I'm going to give you that task. Pick anything in the wrestling universe from 76 to 2000, and we'll cover it next week. We'll get back to that at the end of the show. Cool? Awesome. Yeah. I'm sure you're going to pick that XPW or whatever.
Fucking XPW.
Wasn't that the promotion you say I shouldn't watch, show the kid up or wife up?
No. Because there's lots of titties in there.
Oh, yeah. Anyway, the Road Warriors open up the second round. Road Warriors, who, of course, had a first round bye because, of course, they're in Jim Crockett Promotions. They take on Wahoo McDaniel and Mr. Youngblood. I mean, the Road Warriors at this time in '86, they had a fucking look. They just had this look of total domination.
Yeah, they're killing dudes. Like, watch their fucking squash matches on TV. Holy shit, they're killing guys.
Yeah, especially on TBS TV. I remember watching back in '86. Their music wouldn't even end, and the whole match would be over.
Yeah, that's the right way to do it. With them, they are not necessarily built to have long matches.
But you know who else they also did with? You probably noticed this. They also did that with Manny Fernandez and Rick Rude. When they were the NWA tag team, their music wouldn't even finish and the match would be over. Are you a fan of those matches back in the day? It kind of proved a point that they were destructive and no one could stop them.
I'm a big proponent of squash matches in general, more than the average wrestling fan. Just because if you look at modern wrestling in general, WWE specifically, they don't have any squash matches and no one's over. And every wrestler that's in the promotion has fans. And when you see guys like, Kurt Hawkins and Zack Ryder and some of the guys on the, Mike Kanellis or whatever, those guys don't get wins on TV enough. And I think it hurts them. And those guys need wins on TV because they have fans.
Yeah, I'm a big Kurt Hawkins and Zack Ryder fan. If you...
Because back in the day, like, you would watch Coco Beware fucking demolish somebody. And then he would get demolished by, like, the Warlord, and that shit's impressive.
If you haven't listened to their podcast, it's a great listen. Have you heard their podcast?
I watched a couple of their YouTube videos. I'm pretty stacked with podcasts as it is.
How many podcasts do you think you listen to?
Weekly? Different ones, like 6.
Yeah. I gave Between the Sheets a good listen on my trip out west to Alaska. It was good. It's a long podcast, but it's if you're interested in learning shit, that's the one that you would listen to. It could be entertaining. It's not meant to be like a comedy kind of like, oh, this is hilarious type shit. They go right from the sheets and if you really want to learn like what was going on during the time, that's the one to listen to. Now, if you want to listen to some more comedic ones like Tony Schiavone show or whatever, that you got to know what you're walking into when you listen to. Yeah, I kind of like their format of how they covered this day in 1986 or this whatever this week, and you do learn a lot. So kind of give them a listen on the. On whatever podcast platform.
I don't like listening to podcasts where the hosts know less than I do. So like they know 1,000 times more than me. So that's why I listen to them, because there's a lot of shows out there. It's like they either get it wrong or their opinions are kind of shoddy, or they're like, oh, I started watching wrestling in 1998 and I don't know what really happened beforehand. And that could be kind of rough to listen to every once in a while. So I'm more interested in like, oh, this person knows a shit ton more than me, and I'd rather listen to that.
Yeah, I guess that's why you don't listen to us, because
well, I'm on the fucking show.
Yeah, no. It's like people say, "Hey, do you listen?" I'm like, no. Why? No, I'm not gonna listen to myself again. I don't want.
That happens to me on YouTube all the time. Like, I'll get a comment on a video that's like 3 years old. and I don't know how to respond because I have no idea what they're talking about.
Oh yeah, happy third year anniversary. I think you had
Yeah,
that for your YouTube show. It's yeah, man, I can't believe it's been 3 years. But our 1 year anniversary is coming up in August. We got some cool things planned. We got something special coming up in the next couple of months that we're gonna do. We're not gonna reveal it here on the show right now.
Selling used underwear, so to be extra $10 if you want a skid mark in it.
And sadly, it's ours, not a celebrity. But
no, that's so weird to me.
what?
Oh, come buy Sunny's underwear, or come buy Francine's underwear. Like that's interesting.
I mean, there's a market.
Like, what do you do with it though?
I don't know. There's a market for it.
Do you frame it and put it on the wall or something? I don't know. It's not like a belt. I understand. I mean, I wouldn't walk around with one because that makes you a loser. No offense to people who do that. It's weird to me, but like, say I would purchase a belt, a replica belt. I wouldn't mind putting that on a shelf or in a frame on my wall.
But you wouldn't put Sunny's underwear in a frame on the wall.
First of all, I'm pretty sure my wife would throw me out of the house. Number one. Number two, is it used and unwashed? Like, that's even weird to me. Like, I don't want to smell your cooch juice. You know what I mean? I'm not interested in that. And I'm not a sicko. You know what I mean? It's weird to me. Like ring used gear. Like, if you want to get like boots or like trunks or a shirt or whatever, gloves, knee pads. That's I don't know about all that. But that makes sense to at least a certain degree. But when you're talking about, I wore these underwear last week, they want to buy them for $25. It's weird.
Yeah, that was.
You can pay for sex. I don't know if people know that. Like, you don't have to do that. Like, you can get a prostitute. Like, they don't care what you look like if you got money.
Nope. Everybody's got a price.
You can be a cripple. You can be crippled in a wheelchair for all they fucking care.
Like Ted DiBiase said, everyone's got a price. So.
Yeah.
I mean, that seems to be a lot of wrestling fans, but we won't go into that. The next match.
I'm just saying, if you're going to spend like $300 on a replica belt, why don't you spend $50 and get a blowjob?
It cost you $50, man.
That's New York prices.
Everything in fucking New York is inflated. Good God.
Would you pay for a Coke like $6?
Yeah, and I was like, I'm gonna.
You didn't bring your own from home like I did.
Well, I'm sorry, I couldn't drive to New York. I'm sorry, I didn't. I couldn't take it on the ship. I couldn't take it on the airplane. I could go by to the airport, which still jacked up price. And I'm like, hey, I'm gonna go down the street and you were like, no, they're gonna be the exact same price. Maybe a little bit more, maybe a little less, probably the same. But that's New York for you. But
I brought 2 12-packs of fucking Pepsi Max or Pepsi Zero because I knew that shit's gonna happen.
Yeah, I mean, but does it cost less than Long Island?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Of course. It costs normal prices in Long Island. Like, you don't go to a Walmart in Long Island and pay like $30 for a fucking can of soda. It's Walmart prices.
Yeah, I mean, you do that in New York, in the city. So, man.
Well, yeah. I mean, if you buy from a local vendor, if you go into like your big chain stores, it's not going to be super expensive.
But hey, I mean, that's the price you pay for going to New York City. But next match we had Sam Houston, Mr. Royal, taking on the Midnight Express after their first round bye into the second round. Your thoughts on this?
Why the fuck are the Midnight Express fucking seeded number 3? They're the fucking World Tag Team Champions. They should be seeded number 1.
I mean, the number 2 seed is...
Get Bill Apter on the phone.
I will get him on the phone. Why the hell were they... Because I do remember watching this on one of the shows, the seating, and they were around a big table. And I do see Super Bill... Bill up there back there had a little bit more hair back in the day, but
Bill got the comb over going, looking good.
It's funny. The second seed was Garvin and Magnum, which is
originally it was Dusty and Magnum, so maybe that's the reason. But still, like, it should be Midnight 1. I don't think, did they have a U.S. Tag Team Champion in '86? I don't think so.
Yeah, if they did, they weren't on this tournament. So
fucking A. So it should be Midnight's 1, Road Warriors 2, Dusty and Magnum, or Magnum and Garvin 3. You probably go your Horsemen 4. Where were the Horsemen seated?
The Horsemen were seated. God, where the hell are they?
Oh, they're seeded 4. That's probably what they should be.
They're 4. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, the seeding. I mean, if it was a shoot seeding, it's like most of these seedings are just kind of like works. I mean, it's just like there's like, oh,
Well, yeah, but because there's no. I mean, is there any heel versus heel matches on this show? I don't see any.
No.
I mean, maybe some of the undercard guys, but if there was shoot seeding, you would have to have your like if they would have done Rock and Roll Express versus the Fantastics or some shit. You know what I mean?
Yeah, man. I'm gonna have to next time I talk to Bill, I will ask him. I'm like, hey, I mean, that would be actually a great question for him. I mean, if he can remember why they did that, but yeah, I mean, he's yeah. Anyway, next match: Arn Anderson, Tully Blanchard, Fantastics. I mean, are you surprised?
Fucking phenomenal fucking match.
I mean, are you surprised that they? I mean, I guess they were pushing the Fantastics, so I mean, it's not a surprise that they put them over Anderson and Blanchard.
I am also surprised that they went over Anderson and Blanchard.
I mean, what?
Because I think they're saving that. They're saving the Road Warriors versus Anderson and Blanchard. That's why.
Yeah, it's funny. You put the Fantastics, which are the unseeded tag team, versus the number 4 seed Anderson Blanchard, and the Fantastics don't even get into the finals of the tournament. So it's just where it's.
No, they get a double DQ when it's just a bloodbath with sheep herders, but we'll talk about that later.
But, and speaking of a pre-bloodbath, we had the Rock and Roll Express. Ricky and Robert, number 6 seed, take on the number 9 seed, the New Zealand Sheep Herders. It was a DQ, so the Sheep Herders advanced. I mean, Rock and Roll, Sheep Herders. I mean, they've had some good matches. I mean, what do you think of this match? I mean,
it's a good match. I mean, this show also, like, if anyone just watched them as the Bushwhackers, they're a fucking joke, right? They're a fucking comedy, lower mid-card tag team. It's bullshit or whatever. You watch the fucking Sheep Herders, like, oh, fuck, now I get it. You know what I mean? It's like, you got Jack Victory out there. You got fucking Lady Maxine or Mad Maxine. She's out there with the mohawk going on. It's just like, oh, okay. And this was a big feud. Fantastics and Sheep Herders was a big feud going on in the UWF at the time, so that's why they have the match in the quarterfinals. But, I'm just sad that the Rock and Roll doesn't win this. Like, they just don't win the fucking Horde, man. They probably should.
Yeah, I mean, they're.
Because then you can do returns with the Midnights. If it was Midnight Rock and Roll in the finals and the Rock and Rolls go over, you can do more Rock and Roll Midnight matches throughout the rest of '86 as you get ready for the Road Warrior match at Starrcade.
Yeah, man, it was. I think in hindsight, this tournament was kind of booked not poorly, but just it could have gone different, and it could have made.
Well, because you don't know about the political factions, or like, oh. You're sitting there with Watts too, and Watts is putting his 2 cents in. He wants, he wants at least one of his teams, and I don't understand why he didn't push for his team to go in the finals, but he got him to the quarterfinals. That's it.
Yeah, it was definitely weird to see the tournament. The next match had Ivan and Nikita Koloff taking on Manny Fernandez and Jimmy Valiant.
How much steroids was Nikita on this time? Because he looks fucking huge.
I mean, he was jacked. I mean, he was no. I mean, compared to like the Warlord, what are your thoughts? I mean, him and like they're like. Do you think they're both?
The Warlord was more swollen. I felt like he looked like his. You ever put a hot dog in the microwave, and it gets so plump that the skin fucking splits. Like the Warlord looks like his skin is about to fucking rip, right? At least Nikita was proportionate. You know what I mean?
I mean, he
a little bit more athletic too.
I mean, he lived the gimmick. I mean, he changed his name to Nikita Koloff. So
changed his name, yeah. And I'm wondering if he should have jumped to WWF here in '86 to feud with Hogan like they wanted.
I mean, do you the push that they were trying to give Nikita? I mean, he didn't go as high as they probably had thought. I mean, do you think it could have been? I mean, he could have been bigger.
It would have been. I mean, once they turned him babyface, it would have been interesting giving him a title run. It would have been interesting. But I think that's right around the time where his wife gets cancer and he, takes off for a while to be with her. But having this Russian dude, Russian babyface, which I don't think has necessarily been done all that often, if ever. I can't. Nothing comes to mind, especially like in this time frame. We have like Nikolai Volkov later on, but definitely interesting. I would see a scenario where you would turn him back after you win the belt, though.
Yeah, he was a better heel. I mean, he was.
Oh yeah, he's with Uncle Ivan.
I mean, it was
instead of being Dusty Rhodes' bitch. Yeah.
I mean, but I was definitely not a Nikita Koloff fan when he had the hair. Not a bad.
Oh yeah, if you're watching a match, if you're watching a pay per view or anything, if you're watching wrestling, and you see Nikita Koloff and he has hair, fucking just turn it off. Fucking just turn it off. Don't no. Like if you see Nikita Koloff and it's the AWA, fucking no, turn it off. Turn it off. I don't want none of that nonsense.
No, I mean that. Yeah, I mean, yeah, definitely. He was definitely great when he was teaming up with Uncle Ivan. I mean, and even when they had Vladimir Petrov.
Oh fuck, Vladimir Petrov.
You're not a big Vladimir Petrov fan?
I'm more of a Crusher Khrushchev fan.
Yeah, I mean, he had another, as another gimmick, and he went on to do other things. Just like
Smash, Repo Man.
I mean, among the great gimmicks, but are you a big Repo Man fan?
Sort of, to be kind of like this in my head. There's this cool stable of like the $1 Million Man, Repo Man, and IRS. It's like a villainous fucking stable. Yeah. Like it's ridiculous, but like it makes sense. Like why isn't IRS and Repo Man not a tag team? Because when you owe the IRS money, they fucking repossess your shit, right? So like they should be a tag team. I don't know why they're not. That's funny.
That would have been a great tag team. Next match, we had Terry Taylor, Steve Williams taking on Dino Bravo and Rick Martel. Actually, they didn't because they had.
No, you had Martel come out and he shook the guys. This would have been a babyface versus babyface match, I guess.
Yeah.
Because Martel was out there, he shook everyone's hand. Hey, by the way, if you watch a Dr. Death match and he's wearing yellow, it's probably going to be a pretty good match. By the way,
what?
I don't know why. It just seems.
When do you think? I mean, do you think this was a last minute swerve of Bravo leaving? I mean, because it seems. I mean, they couldn't have gotten someone else that brought someone else in or had someone else wrestle with Rick.
I think it had to be last minute because they would have had the masked Canadian or somebody. You know what I mean? To come in to do this.
I love masking.
No, you take Jack Victory, put him underneath the mask, and he's like the masked fucking Mountie or some shit.
That would have been kind of funny. The next match.
You could have brought in fucking what year is it? 86? You can bring in a Hart here. You can bring in Owen. You can bring in Benoit, who's a rookie at this point, but those are more Stampede guys. This is Montreal. Rougeau's over in WWF this early? I don't think so. Rougeau's. I'm surprised the Rougeau's are not here.
It's
when did they debut? They're not there at WrestleMania 2, so.
It's kind of funny in hindsight. It's 2020. I mean, you book the show today and have it wrestle out. You do it a lot differently, wouldn't you?
I think for every show, I'd book everything completely because I have different tastes, and it's hard sometimes because sometimes you go into some of these if you want to rebook a scenario, but you're using 2019 logic, a 1985 show. Yeah. It doesn't necessarily work that way. Now, if you're gonna book within the parameters of the year that you're doing, you can see why some of the decisions were made.
Yeah, I mean,
because wrestling is so different. I mean, you watch an old MSG show and it's 6 fucking nondescript Iron Mike Sharp versus Johnny Rodz match, and then a couple of good matches on top, and then a Hogan match. You know what I mean? With their roster in the 80s, you can book a super card every fucking night of the week if you really wanted to, but that's not what they did.
They did not do that. I mean, the next match we had Garvin, Ron Garvin. Ronnie Garvin, the Hands of Stone, the future world champion.
The one-man gang, by the way, also. By that his name
taking on, with Magnum TA, taking on Sawyer and Steiner. I mean, I mean, your thoughts on this? I mean, I'm not a big Ron Garvin fan. I'm a big,
I am. I think Ron is great.
even as a world champion.
Oh, I didn't say all of that. Oh, you fucking relax there, my friend. He's a good U.S. champion. He's good if he's having matches with Greg Valentine. He's good when he's having matches with Ric Flair. Like, he's charismatic and he was over. That's why they put the belt on him. Late 1987 is probably not, a, a good fit for Ronnie there. But, hey, not for nothing. I'm surprised Magnum didn't go farther in the tournament. He's also a Mid-South guy. So, Magnum got to start with Mr. Wrestling, too, as a tag team in Mid-South. So, I'm surprised they didn't do more by him because he's someone that the crowd in Louisiana would have known.
Yeah. I want to ask you a question. I'm sure the biggest, gimmick that Ron Garvin was Miss Atlanta Lively. I'm sure you were a big fan of that.
He'd love to fucking dress up as drag, that motherfucker. I tell you that much. Like, he'd love that fucking.
That's
shit.
weird.
He did that shit. Did he do it in ICW? No. In ICW, they fucking kidnapped fucking Pistol Pez Watley and dressed him as Miss Madness and had him tied to a chair in a box. Do you guys do yourself a favor? Watch some ICW wrestling. That is the Apocalypse promotion with Randy Savage and Lanny Poffo. That shit is fucking bananas. Like, it's fucking like Memphis on crack.
Don't they have that on the I know they don't have it on the network. I know they have it on the Jared Parsons network. I think they have.
I believe they do have some episodes. I believe there are some on High Spots too. That's where I have my copy of their TV, at least bits and pieces of what exists. Not a whole lot exists of that stuff, because it was, like, you can't get more outlaw than ICW. So,
but it was a good promotion. I mean,
oh, it was fucking fun because it's Randy Savage, like an unfiltered fucking. My dad's the owner of the company, Randy Savage, and you have Lanny doing Lanny things, and you got this is just shenanigans and tomfoolery. You got like Bob Orton, and there's a bear randomly. Like, I will shoot you over a video of like their entrance, their fucking intro for the TV show. It's fucking nuts.
Yeah, definitely send that over. I want to watch that. The next match had Black Bart, Jimmy Garvin taking on Giant Baba and Tiger Mask. I mean, it's just like. I mean, you knew that Baba and Tiger Mask were going to go over. I mean, because they're the bigger name. I mean, what were your thoughts on?
Well, yeah, I mean, they're the international tag team. I think Tiger Mask had just, if I'm not mistaken, he just fucking relinquished the light heavyweight championship with the junior heavyweight champion in Japan, and he proclaimed that he's going to be heavyweight from now on. So that just happened, and Baba is still doing Baba stuff. Now, Baba at this time is not the focal point of the promotion. He's doing like your 6-mans and tag team like kind of comedy gimmick matches because he's smart and not fucking a lunatic like fucking Inoki who goes over everybody, even though he's way past his prime.
I mean, I thought it was great having them in. I mean, because it was. I mean, you would assume that they're not going to go all the way to the finals, but having them in the tournament kind of did give it a big.
Well, Baba Tiger Mask Road Warrior fucking final would have been interesting.
Yeah, I mean, I just don't see the Road Warriors versus them. I mean, it just.
Well, the Warriors are big in Japan too. Don't forget how, like, you think they're big in the United States, they're fucking more over in fucking Japan.
Yeah. I mean, in reality, I mean, having the Road Warriors versus them. I mean, especially with Baba. I mean, if it was a real fight, I mean, you think in a real fight Baba could have beat up the Road Warriors?
No, he's not Andre, for Christ's sake.
I know. Speaking of the Road Warriors, we're moving on to the quarterfinals. They were taking on the Midnight Express. I mean, I love when the Midnight Express take on the Road Warriors. I mean, they have great matches. I mean,
they do. They have surprisingly good chemistry with the Warriors. And that's just that tells you how great fucking the Midnights and Corny, because Corny's laying out a lot of these matches for these guys at this point. So, I think overall, I mean, you look at this match, and we get the scaffold match at the Starrcade and Night of Skywalker, and you get their big feud, But I don't know, like, how I feel about, like, the tag team champions losing here. And, it gives the Road Warriors a claim at least. That, we should be champions down the road, and I get that, and that's probably why they did it. But it still doesn't feel great, to be honest.
Yeah, it was. I mean, but they always have good matches. I mean, speaking of a good match, I mean, this next match in the quarterfinals, the Fantastics versus the New Zealand Sheepers.
5 fucking stars on this match, by the way.
Mean, like you said, it was a blood fucking bath.
The blood fucking bath. You get to see how fucking good the Fantastics are. You see the ship porters and their element. You know, if you watch this match over, like, you know, okay, it's just a match for a while. Like, you know, it's a regular, you know, nondescript match. It's like, whatever, it's okay. And then it fucking devolves into this fucking brawl that's insane.
Yeah, I mean, it was, I mean, I think
lots of fun here. Lots of fun.
Yeah, I mean, I think the sheep herders are great when they have matches like this. I mean, they're just, I mean, they should always be booked as brawlers. I mean, they're not pretty, so they're not going to be like, you know, no, they're not going to be over with, you know, as super good looking. I mean, but they're brawling. I mean, it's just like I said, big fan of the sheep herders back in the mid '80s. I mean, so I mean,
yeah, man.
Yeah, I mean, in the next match we had the Russian team of Ivan and Nikita Koloff taking on Terry Taylor, Steve Dr. Death Williams. It was a draw, 20 minutes.
Oh boy, this match was long.
Yeah, it was about 10 minutes too long. I think it was.
Like, these guys are not necessarily known for going super long. I mean, Terry Taylor could, and he had his working boots on, and it's not like Ivan and Nikita like really want to go 20 minutes at this point in their career, especially Ivan. Ivan's older at this point, so it's a little rough to be completely honest. But you know, you have your double DQ and your draw, so like Garvin and Magnum and the Road Warriors get your buys, so. There's no semifinal matches at all.
Yeah, I mean, we had, of course, the next match we had Garvin, Magnum, Baba, Tiger Mask. I mean, it was you're
gonna want I guess you kind of want your international team, especially if you're trying to cultivate a relationship with All Japan at this point. To be completely honest, you want to have them, you know, politically go pretty far, and you know, having them lose, you know, the team in the finals that go to the finals is probably not a bad thing overall. It's just like, and Magnum and Garvin were like okay together as a team. They didn't have the chemistry as like Magnum and Dusty did. So it's okay, but it's like, does Garvin and Magnum really need to be in the finals of this? Like, seriously? Like, they can't go out with like a double DQ, and like, can we throw like the Russian teams in here, or the Fantastics, or the Midnights, or Sheep Herders? Like, because to me, it's like, it makes no sense because like they're like a thrown together tag team.
Yeah. So
it's not like night in and night out they're fucking tagging, and you have like teams who tag all the time. So obviously you have your Warriors and Midnights, Fantastic Sheep Herders, and your Russians. You know, that team constantly, right? They're tag teams.
Yeah.
And then taking 2 single wrestlers and have them like get through all the way to the finals doesn't make any sense to me.
Yeah.
Now, if you want to say if they're, you know, exceptional, okay. You know, because you have Dusty in there, okay, I can buy it. But, you know, I have Ron Garvin in there, not so much.
So, of course, we skip the semifinals, go to the finals. The Road Warriors imagine that number 1 seed, take on the number 2 seed, Ron Garvin, Magnum TA. I mean, it's kind of funny that this match went 9 minutes, 49 seconds, but the draw went 20 minutes. I mean,
yeah.
I mean, what's their logic behind that? The show was running along and they just wanted to get it over with, or it's not going to go not very long.
Warriors ain't going no fucking 20 minutes. The fucking Road Warriors.
Yeah, I mean, they usually have the 5-second match. I mean, it's like, Jesus Christ.
Right. So it's the Warriors. You know, you're giving them this big push. They're, like I said, they're fresh in from AWA. They're still making their trips back and forth to Japan. So you want to get these guys over. I'm not sure when they debut because I know they're doing. I think they were still doing shows at AWA like in late '85 too. Like they're doing Crockett and AWA at the same time. But you know, like you want to get over the Road Warriors. But to be honest, do the Road Warriors need the push? Do they need like, hey, you know, just is being the Road Warriors just enough at this point? Do you have to fucking smash them through this tournament?
No, I mean being the Road Warriors at this time, especially in the mid '80s. I mean,
because you can get them out with a double DQ and a brawl in the first round, and no one's gonna fucking bat an eye.
Yeah, I mean, and of course, then at the end of the year, they're in a Skywalker scaffold match. I mean, right. And I mean, do you remember those promos that they did leading up to Starrcade '86.
We throw the pumpkin off
Yeah.
the fucking thing. Yeah.
I mean, they really, I mean, they were over. I mean, especially them, Jim Cornette falling off and getting hurt, and it's just, I mean,
When the Warriors get the belts, 88. So 2 years from now they get the belts.
that was a long time for them not to have the belts.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, because you can always put the belts on them. I guess the conventional wisdom is like, well, how do we get the belts off of them? You can find a way to beat them without hurting them. That's not hard. I guess they just weren't interested in doing that.
I mean, overall, I mean, I think this is a good pay-per-view. I mean, it's a good.
We've got 2 matches.
Yeah, I know, and I'm just talking about the tournament.
Okay.
What were your thoughts on the next matches?
Well, we see Prime Duggan here, which is nice to see. Dick Slater, I believe, is on his way out though of Mid-South at this time. And again, don't forget that the Mid-South North American Heavyweight Championship is their premier title, so that's like their number 1 belt. Interesting to note that Mid-South is never, and a lot of people argue. I don't know why people argue with me on this. Mid-South was never part of the NWA. Just to be clear on that, they were never part of the NWA. They didn't vote for the champion. They would use the champion every once in a while, but they weren't official members of the NWA. Just want to be clear on that. Just please. It's true. Watts said it. It's in his book. Listen to a Watts interview. People tend to argue with me about this all the time. Same thing with Memphis. They always think, well, Memphis was part of the NWA. No, they weren't. They were part of the AWA. Please.
Stop arguing.
Stop
arguing with me.
Stop arguing with me. Makes no fucking sense.
I mean, were you big?
Did Dick Slater go to WWF after this and become the Rebel Dick Slater? I think he did.
I'm not sure. I'm not a big Dick Slater fan, but a big.
You don't like Dick?
No.
That's not what I heard.
Oh, you're funny. But I mean, were you a big Hacksaw fan back in the mid '80s? I mean, dude, his work.
Of course, Hacksaw is awesome in Mid South.
I mean, is everybody fucking better in Mid South?
Yes. I can't name, there's not a person I can think of. Oh, no, Rude. Rude was shitty in Mid-South.
Was, well, where was it was it Mid-South, or I think it was Mid-South where Rude's his last name was spelled different? Was that?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just,
yep.
It's just weird. As I was watching, I'm like.
But for the most part, 99% of the people, when you see them in Mid-South, oh, fucking Coco Beware, it's fucking awesome. Oh, shit. You know what I mean? It's guys like that. You see DiBiase having these fucking 4.5 star matches all the fucking time. You see Duggan at his fucking peak. You see JYD is no matter how over he was in WWF, he was twice as over he was in Mid-South. You know what I mean? So it's you would see these things and you're like, oh, that guy's a jobber in WWF, but in Mid-South he was awesome.
And of course, then we had Ric Flair, Dusty Rhodes.
They might, this might be their best high-profile match that we've seen. Now, a lot of people say, oh, you know what I mean? But, we don't get to see all the fucking house show matches, so I don't fucking know. But to me, this is better than the matches they had at fucking Starrcade, for sure.
Well, that's kind of putting it on a high pedestal.
It's a good match. I mean, it's not like the 2 Starrcade matches were fucking barn burners anyway. They do the fucking cheesy finishes on those all the fucking time.
Yeah, I mean, Ric Flair and Dusty Rhodes have had some.
Flair should have won one of these matches clean though. At least get a pinfall on him.
But I mean, it's Ric Flair in the '80s. I mean,
what was the finish of Starrcade '85? You remember the finish of that? We just did that shit.
God, I cannot remember. I mean,
I'll look it up. It's important.
It's important, and while you're looking that up. If anybody wants to follow us on Twitter, follow the show on Twitter. We at the RW Rewind. We're a good follow. We don't have as many followers as Alex G's Twitter page, but I mean we're getting up there. And of course, coming soon, we're gonna have some more Boris and Bart. The guys are gonna be coming back on the program, kind of giving their take on the world of professional wrestling, 2 different, totally different versions. And of course, if you want to go to our website, it's therwrewind.com. We have all the old shows. We talk about us. We have a link to our merchandise. We have, a bunch of other great stuff on the website. So it's therwrewind.com. It's the same on Twitter. Did you find out what the ending of that match was in 1985?
Dusty finish. So Dusty gets the 1-2-3 on Flair, at least the visual 1-2-3, the reverse decision the next day.
Yeah.
Fly back.
Yep. I mean, it's the old Dusty finish. So we've come to that moment that we've all been waiting for. Drum roll, please. What show are we going to be covering next week?
The next show that we will be covering next week, King of the Ring, 1994.
Why?
How much does this guy weigh? We get to talk about Art Donovan and that fucking disaster of commentary. In addition, there's you'll see Owen Hart getting his push. You'll see a fantastic match with Jerry the King Lawler. He's fantastic in quotes, by the way. Jerry Lawler and Roddy Piper, which came 10 years too late. Also, there's a Kevin Nash versus Bret Hart match on that show. Interesting show. This is like the first time they used the phrase "New Generation." Also, so
you said King of the Ring. Which year?
94.
94. Yeah, that was. I mean, it was. Yeah, it was. Oh, yeah, it's definitely a good.
Interesting show. Doesn't have to be good. This has to be interesting.
Oh, it includes the old great Todd Pettengill. I mean, that's.
Oh, we love Todd, by the way, especially him.
I hate Dick, but we love Todd. So that's beside the point. Yes, I know I'm weird, but for the great Alex G, as always, I'm David Fine. We'll see you back here next week where we cover King of the Ring 1994. As always, we'll talk to you in the past.
38 pounds in the black corner. From St. Louis,
Here comes Mr. Crow.
Andre the Giant.
Gonna get his leg set on the bruiser. Hulk Hogan.
Number one, the greatest WWE champion of all time, and in many ways, the man who made the title what it is today, Bruno Sammartino.
His opponent weighing 236 pounds in the white corner. From Van Nuys, California.